Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to relay the last meeting we had because some disconnects occurred in that meeting about the mandatory provident fund and the ability to extract funds from that pension fund once people were in Canada, people of Hong Kong origin, obviously. And so we'd like your input very clearly on how many of those citizens coming over from Hong Kong that are trying to access the mandatory provident fund savings are able to access those, and how many are not able to access those because of delays or not having the proper forms. Can you give us a quick briefing on that? What you know of that subject, first of all, please?
Mr. Lemmy, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much for the question. I would like to ask one of my colleagues who is more familiar with the MPF to address the question. Thank you.
Ms. Mascot. Go ahead, please.
So with respect to, IRCC doesn't have information on individuals who may have applied to transfer their pensions, so we don't have any information on that. We're not privy to that information.
Thank you. The problem is that people that come over with a Hong Kong passport through a British nationals overseas passport and get a Canadian passport have a designation that they arrive at here, they arrive on their passport here, that indicates that. And the contention is that as a result of that, they aren't able to access their their mandatory provident funds. Are you aware of this issue?
So yes, IRCC has been made aware of that issue. For those who may have challenges seeking sort of early withdrawal of their pension as a result of changes that were implemented for the MPF.
Can I have a little more fulsome answer, please? Can you tell me how many people have indicated that this is a problem for them?
Thank you for the question. IRCC has not received any inquiries from individuals who have expressed concerns with that.
So when you say you're aware of it, how are you aware of it?
Thank you for the question. So we're aware of it, I guess, through news releases and communications from stakeholders.
Okay, thank you. The issue, of course, is it came up in March 2021 when the Hong Kong government indicated that they would be changing the accessibility for the mandatory provident fund funds to people leaving Hong Kong on the British national overseas passport. Something changed at that point in time where Canadians getting Canadian permanent residency certificates were no longer able to access those funds. Did anything change in your department at that point in time to make sure that Canadians that came here still could access those funds?
We'll have to come back on that question because I don't have any information at this moment about Canadians who may have come over having challenges accessing.
So when I say Canadians, I mean people that are becoming Canadians from Hong Kong.
We'll have to come back on that question to see if anybody has specifically raised that. I don't have information at this time.
Okay, so something changed in March of 2021 where the British national overseas passport or visa was no longer able to access the mandatory provident funds as well as it was before. What I need to know is the signals, or pardon me, the designations you put on the Canadian passports associated with the British nationals overseas are GBN, I believe?
So thank you. Thank you for the question. The three-letter country code that's associated with British National Overseas in accordance with the International Civil Aviation Organization standards is, in fact, GBN.
We need to be a little more quicker here, please, Ms. Maskell. So GBN is the right answer?
Yes.
Okay. Why would it be possible to change that? Because the people that are coming over with a GBN on their passport, their new Canadian documents, are now indicating they cannot access the funds they put away for retirement.
Ms. Maskell.
Sorry. Thank you for the question. PR cards are issued to be consistent with the travel document that the applicant has provided, and the country code and associated nationality are issued in accordance with the ICAO standards.
Well, thank you. So there's no change that's going to happen then as far as people having trouble becoming Canadian citizens and accessing the same funds that would come over if they came over directly on a Hong Kong to Canadian PR. Is that correct?
Thank you for the question. PR cards will continue to be issued in accordance with the ICAO standards.
Thank you very much. The problem we have here, of course, is that people are not going to be able, indications are people cannot access the mandatory provident funds, pension funds. So we're going to have to find a way to make sure they have a good pension in Canada, and that'll cost them. It's money they put away. It's a mandatory deduction. Are you aware if we're providing benefits like Canada Pension Plan investment benefits to people that live in China?
Ms. Maskell or Mr. McNamee? Mr. McNamee, go ahead, please.
Sorry, is there somebody from finance here?
Mr. Lincuse, will you want to go ahead? Please go ahead.
Sorry, their question was whether there's a provision for former Hong Kong residents to receive.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if the question was unclear. I'm looking for some kind of reciprocity where Hong Kongers that are becoming Canadian permanent residents are not receiving the money that they put away for the mandatory provident fund, their pension fund, whereas people that have moved from Canada to parts of the PRC, even Hong Kong, are receiving CPPI benefits. Is there any indication of some consistency of approach in this?
Mr. Lincuse.
I'm sorry, but I don't have any information on the reciprocity issue with respect to exchange of pension benefits between Canada and other countries.
And the time is up.